Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Township of Chatham Township Committee meeting for August 16th, 2018. Greg, has adequate notice been given?
Yes, adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Committee was given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act as follows. Notice was given to the Chatham Courier and the Morris County Daily Record on January 5th, 2018. Notice was posted on the bulletin board in the main hallway of the municipal building on January 5th, 2018. And notice was filed with the Township Clerk on January 5th, 2018.
Very good, Greg. Thank you. Can we all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Selin?
Say here. Typhoon, say here.
Yes, I can hear now, so I was hardly hearing Greg. Typhoon is here, yeah.
Mr. Kelly?
Here.
Mr. Sullivan?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Swartz?
Here.
And Mayor Ritter is absent.
Very good. Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
And a second?
All
All in favor? Aye. We're all in favor. Aye. All right. The first order of business we have here is a final adoption of ordinance number 2018-17. Typhoon is kind enough to call it in. As we know, a public hearing has already been held on this particular issue. Resolution 2018-17 is, where is it?
Should be, I think, the second item in there.
A lot of different things. Thank you. Thank you, Greg. This is a bond ordinance to authorize the undertaking of various public improvements in, by, and for the sewer utility of the Township of Chatham in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $550,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Do I have a motion to approve?
Public hearing.
We've held a public hearing.
Yeah, just to clue everybody in, procedurally, you already conducted the public hearing
Correct.
at the meeting a month ago. There were not enough members present to cast affirmative votes, so the vote was tabled, but the public hearing has already been conducted, so all you need is a motion and a roll call vote.
Correct.
So moved.
Thank you. So moved. And a second?
Second.
Mr. Selin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Swartz?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. Thank you very much, Greg.
And Greg, just make sure that your minutes reflect that Mr. Sellon was participating electronically, that he had previously been here for the public hearing, and that he has been properly identified.
There we are.
And Mr. O'Connell, also, you actually reached out for Councilman Selena, a number that he provided so that we know that it's him that's actually on the other end of the line. Is that correct?
Yes, I have the email here if anyone wants to see it.
And you reached out and called that number and he identified himself?
Yes. Right, Typhoon?
He's gone. He's on a
I think
plane.
he's gone.
He's on a plane. They're
He's on a plane.
boarding.
Yes, Greg.
Okay,
And
thank you.
also, he should indicate
You're
that
welcome.
he is able to hear and be heard during the hearing.
Yes, yeah, Typhoon, you indicate that you can hear and have been heard.
Okay. What did you say, Greg? I'm sorry.
Yes, you're indicating that you can hear me.
I can hear you now much better, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Good luck.
thank you.
Thank you, Typhoon. Thanks for calling in. Okay. Up next, we have a resolution honoring Chief Stephen Henley of the Chatham Township Police Force. And we have a resolution here to present to Chief, and I will read it now. Whereas Stephen Henley has recently retired after 31 years of loyal and dedicated professional law enforcement service to the township, and whereas Stephen Henley began his employment with the township as a patrolman in 1987, and throughout his career filled many positions including detective, juvenile officer, Public Information Officer. And whereas Stephen Henley was promoted to the rank of sergeant in 2005 and lieutenant in 2009, where he compiled an extensive array of accomplishments, was responsible for supervising the daily operation of the patrol division, and was also responsible for all internal affairs matters. And whereas Stephen Henley was promoted to the position of Chief of Police in February 2013 and served admirably in that position for the past 5.5 years, during which time the Township of Chatham received national recognition as one of the safest communities in the country, and the department achieved accreditation through the New Jersey Association of Chiefs of Police. And whereas Stephen Henley received numerous personal awards, including life-saving, meritorious service, community service, and exceptional duty, was a strong advocate for community policing, and was dedicated to the highest standards of police professionalism, serving as a mentor to many department members, assisting their career development. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Chatham that we hereby recognize and extend our deep appreciation to Chief Stephen Henley upon the occasion of his retirement for the many contributions to our community, and to extend to him and his family, Anne Marie, Jessica, and Matthew, our best wishes for success and happiness in the future. Township of Chatham in the County of Morris. Since this is a resolution, I will ask for one of my fellow committee members to accept this resolution.
So
Motion
moved.
to approve, so moved, and second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have
Aye.
a roll call vote?
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz?
Yes. Okay, very good. Want to bring Anne Marie and the kids up? For a picture?
You want to read it first, and I'll read mine? I see your font is as big as my font. And I was wondering on a ride here, if I started in 1987, if I started with font number 12. But I came to realize, I'm not even sure if there were computers yet when I
There weren't
started.
fonts.
I don't remember. I remember handwriting all of our reports. But anyway, I think I'm at font 16 now without glasses. So it has been my distinct honor to serve and protect the residents of Chatham Township over the past 31 years. For the past 5.5 years, I was blessed with the opportunity to serve as Chief of Police and privileged to have led one of the finest police departments in the country. Over these 3 decades, I've served with a group of remarkable men and women who have demonstrated their commitment and dedication to the public they serve each and every day. Police work is truly about teamwork, and it is through their devotion to duties and selfless service that Chatham Township has been and will continue to be one of the safest places to live in America. I often kidded during my career about having to do and see more things than what were in the employment brochure in 1987. I can remember very early in my career sitting in a street survival course and having an old salty instructor say something to me that I held on to my entire career, especially during those challenging times. He said, "Those of you in this room did not choose to become police officers. You were chosen because not everyone can do your job." And when he was done, he looked to the sky. It took me a moment to understand what he had meant, but finally it sunk in. I can tell you honestly, this job was not always easy, and it's not for everyone. But it certainly was a rewarding one, and I'm glad I was chosen. 31 years ago, a young man arrived in Chatham Township as a brand new, neatly polished police officer. He knew very little about the community he was about to serve or what the job was really all about. How he wondered if he would be able to make a difference and survive an entire career. That young man stands here before you today, older and wiser, and will say goodbye to a place that he called his second home and a dream career he will forever cherish. I would like to thank all of you here tonight for your friendship and support throughout my career, especially my wife Anne-Marie, my children Jessica and Matthew, and my closest friends for your patience, understanding, and support for the past 31 years. Behind every good cop is even a greater network of family and friends. I'm so blessed to have all of you in my life, and I want to thank you for helping me fulfill my dream of being a police officer and being here to watch me cross the finish line. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight to honor Chief Henley and his 31-year career with the Chatham Township Police Department. As most of you already know, Chief Henley is one of the most highly decorated officers to ever wear the Chatham Township uniform. He has not only been a credit to this agency and the Township of Chatham, but he has been a pillar in the local law enforcement community as well. As was acknowledged in the resolution, he has enjoyed much success in his career. But more important than his promotion and accolades was his dedication to the betterment of the law enforcement profession, and particularly his leadership with the Chatham Township Police Department. Throughout his years of service, he has been the recipient of several life-saving citations, meritorious service citations, and honorable service citations, just to name a few. His leadership and guidance has brought the Chatham Township Police Department into the forefront of policing. During his tenure as chief, he successfully guided the department through the initial New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police Law Enforcement accreditation, and additionally through its reaccreditation this year. His leadership and guidance through the accreditation process has shone a bright light on this department, so much so that we refer to as a model police agency. Additionally, we were hailed as having the best accreditation report ever presented before the Accreditation Commission. Not to be outdone by the initial accreditation, the chief's leadership, work ethic, and knowledge again brought esteem to this department. At the conclusion of the department's reaccreditation process, the assessors referred to the chief and the department as accreditation rock stars. Thank you, Chief, for your commitment and dedication to bringing this fine organization to a higher level. The shadow box that we present to you tonight shows just a brief glimpse at all that you accomplished throughout your career. But what it does not show is all the lives that you have touched and influenced in your 31 years as a dedicated officer with this department. I know I can speak for everyone here tonight when I say thank you for all that you have done for the Township of Chatham over the past 31 years. On a personal note, I want to thank you for your leadership, mentorship, dedication to our beloved profession, and for raising the bar for the standards and expectations for all who follow your path. May God bless you and your family with a long, happy, healthy, and well-deserved next chapter in your life.
In a short while, we're going to break for some refreshments and have a chance to just catch up a little bit. Before we do, I would just like to personally thank Chief Henley as a representative of Chatham Township for the work that you've put in throughout the accreditation process, throughout the introduction of community policing, and really seeing it take hold in our community. There are 4,000 families who look to you and the legacy that you are leaving. And we trust that this will be a great force going forward. We know, we respect these young people, and we're grateful for all the work that you've put in for this wonderful group, and we know that we will leave the township stronger as a result of your leadership. Thank you so much for all you've done over the years, Chief. We appreciate it, every bit of it. We're just going to go in the back and share a cup of tea with Chief Henley. We'll be back shortly. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have reports. Mike?
Thank you, Karen. Regarding the community garden, I'd just like to announce that the community garden is going to have its first ever festival, Harvest Festival, on Sunday, September 16th. This is for plot holders to get together and kind of celebrate the end of the season, but just like to ask all the Township Committee members to put it on their calendar, and it would be a great time to see the garden at its best and see the people who take advantage of it.
Cool.
It's one of our great services, so and the invitations will be coming. Our DPW has kind of been working to try to work its way around these the weather conditions the last couple of weeks. Everyone who's been doing that on the home front, I'm sure, can appreciate how difficult it is to do outdoor maintenance with the rain. But they've been out there doing the crosswalks for back to school, painting the artificial turf for the fall sports to begin, and also preparing the regular turf fields for their fall seasons, getting the mowing and done as well, cleaning out catch basins and easements. So basically a lot of it weather related and also back to school related. And congratulations to them for keeping it on top of all that. But other than that, it's been a pretty routine.
Yeah, sure is. Very good. Kevin?
No reports, but in lieu of Kurt not being here, Tom, do you want to talk about the Colony Pool and staycation?
Okay, not much to report on that.
Just when it kicks off.
It actually kicked off this week. Registration opened on the 13th, which was Monday. It'll run for the last 2 weeks of the season, so that's this coming Monday, the 20th, up until Labor Day. And it's $150 for resident family. That's the only category. There's no individual staycation. So hopefully some people might take advantage of that, come over and enjoy the last couple weeks of the summer at Colony, and if they like it, come back next year.
Very good.
So
Thank
the
you very much.
registration for that is open on Community Pass.
Community Pass. Very good. A couple of things. I have a request for everybody to mark their calendars, especially for Saturday, September 8th, in conjunction with our Community Farmers Market, is our Sustainability Fair. The Sustainability Fair, to be held on September 8th at the Chatham Borough train station, will be co-sponsored by our environmental commissions. That is the Environmental Commission of Chatham Township and Chatham Borough, as well as the Mayor's Wellness Campaign. And it's been a great event in the past, and it's nice to bring everybody together, not only to enjoy the farmers market, but also to learn more about sustainability and the ways in which the Chathams are becoming so environmentally responsible. I would also not want this chance in public to pass without passing on, in behalf of all of Chatham Township, especially those of us who serve in a civic capacity, the sudden passing of Rockaway Township Mayor Michael Datchison, who was 58 years old and passed away quite suddenly of a heart attack on the 15th. Rockaway Township is a neighbor of ours in Morris County. We share a lot of the same legislators, the same Board of Freeholders to be exact. We've developed great friendships from one corner of the county to the other. And for us to see somebody so dedicated to his community as he was, working with the citizens of Rockaway Township and with his fellow members of the council there, and to know that there's going to be a great void. So for anybody who is out there listening from Rockaway Township, you have our sincerest condolences, and you're not alone. We're all in this together. And we thank Michael for his service. We wish his family peace and prayers, and we hope for an orderly transition in Rockaway Township. And that's what I have. Tom, anything else? Okay, terrific. No report. Okay, Bill, good to see you, though. At this time, we have Rob Walton, who is our area manager from JCP&L, coming to talk to us about a couple of goings-on there with JCP&L. Thanks for joining us, as usual, Rob, and thanks for your patience as we worked our way through other celebrations. Always
Sure,
good to
not
see you.
a problem. Glad to do it. It's one of the hazards of the job is those kind of ceremonies. So JCP&L filed toward the end of June towards the end of July, a program with the BPU we're calling Reliability Plus. In December of 2017, the BPU created a rate mechanism for all utilities, water, electric, gas, sewer, to encourage the investment in infrastructure improvements in the state of New Jersey and allow those utilities to recoup those costs on an accelerated basis. So instead of the usual 10 or 20 years, we'll be able to recoup much of those costs in 4 years. So there will be a slight rate increase if we get this program approved, but it will allow us to make some significant investments into our infrastructure, specifically $400 million over the next 4 years. The programs that would benefit Chatham Township include enhanced vegetation management. It includes replacing some of our circuit breakers in the township with automatically closing circuit breakers. It also includes replacing some of the automatically closing circuit breakers with circuit breakers that would be tied into our distribution control center. The advantage of these three things would be an improved reliability for the township, also improved communication for us. Added with that are some substation improvements which would benefit Chatham Township as well. Portable substations should we have a substation failure, and all of these things we would be putting into place beginning in 2019 should the BPU approve it. The enhanced vegetation management includes removal of overhang in Zone 2. Zone 2 is the part of the circuit from let me back up. Zone 1 is from the substation to the first protected device, the first circuit breaker. Currently, we remove all vegetation within 15 foot of the wire, ground to sky. In Zone 2, which is the rest of the three-phase part of the circuit, the main trunk of the circuit, overhang remains. We are not regulated or required or allowed to remove the limbs which overhang the wires in Zone 2. In Zone 3, those are the side streets and laterals off of the main circuit. There, we do not remove overhang as well. This rider to our rate would allow us to go out and remove the overhang in Zone 2 where we've had previous tree-related outages. So that would be a substantial improvement in reliability to our customers. Included with that vegetation enhancement program would be a more aggressive removal of ash trees and also a more aggressive targeting of hazard trees. Hazard trees are any tree with a kind of mechanical defect or disease or other issue that makes it likely to fall onto our lines. The ash trees, we're targeting those, of course, because of the emerald ash borer, the insects that are killing off our ash trees on a very rapid rate. We currently are targeting ash trees for removal, but we're going to be accelerating that should we get this new funding stream from the BPU. The communications for the automatic reclosers. This would allow us to know instantaneously when one of those reclosers activates and know who's out of power if they're part of a circuit that has these reclosers. The automatically closing circuit breakers will be added where we've had reliability issues in the past. So the good news is if you don't get one, it means you've got a good circuit. If you do get one, it means you've had reliability issues in the past. These communication devices are sort of laying the groundwork for a smarter system, a smarter grid for distribution. Currently, subtransmission, which is substation to substation, all of that is automated and has communication included, so we know when a substation trips, we know when those breakers go, and we're able to move electricity around from substation to substation to accommodate. We're beginning to add that to the distribution system as well, and this is laying the groundwork for that. Some of these improvements would get done if we don't get the IIP, but this would certainly allow us to do a lot of them on an accelerated basis and get those improvements in place on a more rapid basis. So that's the program in a nutshell. Again, it's not a response to the March storms. Again, this was planned well in advance by the BPU. They are encouraging utilities to do this, and we are seeking public support, and certainly would encourage and welcome that from Chatham Township as well.
When we talk to a lot of our residents and our neighbors, that the issue of electrical reliability from JCP&L is always a very touchy point.
Sure.
You know, we know that you're putting every bit of manpower on the ground when we have massive power outages, and people still get very upset. I believe that you and I were talking, and you said that 25% of power outages are caused by tree limbs?
I wish it were that few. It's more like half.
Half.
On a blue sky day, it's between 25 and 50%.
Other things, right.
In a storm event, it's 90% or more. Certainly during the March storms, it's the wind and the snow knocking over trees onto our wires.
Right. What you were telling me about the percentage, having seen this come east from, say, Ohio and Pennsylvania and so on, is that the ash tree is an overwhelming contributor to this problem.
It is a disproportionate part of those outages, if you look at it compared to the number of ash trees to the total number of trees. So yes, it is a frequent cause of outages for us. That's why we're targeting them. The emerald ash borer started further west and has progressed east. So we've seen it hit Ohio, we've seen it hit Pennsylvania. They've tried the treatments. There are different sprays and other injections you can give to the trees that attempt to try to save them. We've found them not to be very effective. So we are making a concerted effort to simply cut them down.
The trees that you're targeting are the ones directly in the right of way, that directly on the wires, so to speak,
in
not
the right
somebody's property that.
No, we are targeting any ash tree that may fall onto our wires. Obviously, the first priority is those that are immediately close to the wires, but if there is an ash tree 10 feet back or 15 or 20 feet back that may fall or has a lean towards our lines, we will target that as well. We will try to get the property owner's permission. And that's one thing that's important to keep in mind. We cannot cut down someone's tree without their permission. So as much as we might want to remove a hazard tree, if the homeowner says no, it stays.
Mm-hmm. But you'll obviously work with them
We
in advance.
work very
Are
hard.
you starting to mark the trees now? I've seen pink ribbons tied around some of the trees on our properties down Southern Boulevard, for example.
We go through each one of our circuits once every 4 years to remove dangerous trees and cut back limbs away from our wires, 15 feet radius around our wires. And as we're doing that, we do mark hazard trees for removal, and we will go visit the property owner, try to get their acquiescence to have us remove the tree. Our foresters are very good at explaining why a hazard tree needs to come down, and most often residents are agreeable. The challenge with the ash trees is residents go out, look at the ash tree, it looks healthy, it has green leaves on it, they're not aware of the emerald ash borer issue, and they think we're just an evil utility trying to cut their own tree down.
Right.
And in fact, so oftentimes, a month later or several weeks later, they'll start to begin to see the disease, they'll hear about the ash tree issue, and they'll call us and ask us to come back and do it, which is, we do, but it does add to our cost to have to come back and redo our work.
Will you be able to start implementing this forestry initiative in advance of the rate increase that you're talking about that has to go before BPU, et cetera?
Well, we currently are targeting ash trees this year, and we'll do so again
Regardless.
next year. However, we would like to do the Zone 2 overhang removal and also be more aggressive about getting after the ash tree. And that will be dependent upon whether the BPU approves this rate rider or not. We're optimistic they will. They did encourage these investments, but it still has to get their approval. They have to take testimony, take public comment. So we're hopeful, optimistic, and we're certainly also hopeful and optimistic we'll get township support from all of our candidates we serve.
And what's the time frame, Rob?
We're looking for a hearing sometime in the fall. They have not given a date yet, and we're hopeful to start January 1st, 2019.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Anybody?
Rob, the amount of trees, for example, in Chatham Township that have to come down, I know all of us have seen some of these trees with the red ribbon around them, which I presume are the ones you were talking about. And they seem to be in clusters, so you see a lot of them in one spot, but virtually none in other spots. Is that because you haven't gotten that far to mark them, or are they all marked and just happens to come in clusters?
It's probably the former. It's probably the fact that the part of town that we're trimming now is where you're seeing the ribbons, and where you're not seeing the ribbons is a part of the circuit that we're not trimming. Chatham Township is served by several different substations, and those substations have multiple circuits. So we're probably not on that substation this year, which is why you're not seeing the red ribbon. If you were to recall from a year ago, you probably saw red ribbons on a different part of town where we were trimming at that time of year. So that's usually the reason why you wouldn't see them in one area and not in another.
Okay. And you are in close communication with the affected homeowners so that they know everything we're talking about now?
Absolutely. We knock on their door, we leave a card behind if they aren't home, a hang card on the door, and we cannot remove that tree without their permission. So yes, we are in regular contact with our residents. And that being said, if a resident has a tree that they're concerned about or that they have had a change of heart about and want us to remove, we will go somewhere where we're not necessarily trimming that circuit this year. They call us with a tree complaint. Our foresters have, I think, about 24, 48 hours to investigate that and get back to the property owner, and we will go cut down trees, even if they're not in a regular cycle, if they're a hazardous condition to us. Absolutely.
I think we would be remiss if we didn't bring up the notion that comes up a lot about burying the power lines. I know we've talked about it personally, we've talked about it in conference calls with higher-ups at JCP&L and First Energy, and the cost is a biblical proportion, right? It's from what we gather.
It's big, yes. The BPU did a review of the March storms, and it's a very good report, which I encourage anybody who's interested in utility reliability to read. It's online at the BPU website. And there are several things they speak of and talk about, one of which they do hit on is burying the wires. Post-Sandy, we were asked to look at how much it would cost to bury the wires, and the estimate at the time was around $1 million a mile. I'm told Massachusetts recently did a study that looked at burying the wires, and they estimated it was $2.2 million per mile. Massachusetts has a similar topography to New Jersey, similar population density, so that's probably a good estimate. The BPU, in their report that they issued a few weeks ago, put that estimate at $3 million a mile. So when you look at the miles and miles of circuits that we have and how you can spend that money, how do you spend $3 million per mile? Do you spend it on burying the wires, or do you spend half that and cut trees, improve reliability, add devices, things of that sort? So from a cost effectiveness standpoint, there are much better ways to spend that money than to bury the wires.
That's if you were to get approval for that kind of funding in the first place, which is obviously a matter for separate discussion.
JCP&L has the lowest rate for consumer electric provision of any utility in the state of New Jersey. The price increase, should we get this program, is 26 cents in the first 6 months.
Right.
It would peak at $1.89 in year 4, and then obviously the rider would go away after that. The Sandy rider, following Hurricane Sandy, we were entitled to get reimbursed for the expense we incurred to repair things after Hurricane Sandy. That rider is more than $1.89, but don't quote me on exactly how much more, and that will be going away at the end of 2019.
Is that 26 cents like in every billing period, or how does that?
Per month for the average residential customer. So if you have above average bill, it's going to be 27, 28 cents, but if you're an average customer, it's 26. If you're below average, obviously it's below. But that's per month. And they'll increase in regular increments every 6 months, peaking at $1.89.
Okay.
That's great. We're very grateful for you to come out. We're very grateful for the constant communication that we have. I know sometimes this is taking down trees, especially in Chatham Township, is a tough conversation for all of us because we appreciate the beauty of our community. But in a situation like this, when you talk about enhanced reliability for our electrical grid, I think it's critical that we're having this conversation.
Agreed.
We're very grateful that you're here, Rob.
Agreed.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we're glad to do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you soon. All right. At this time, we have a hearing of citizens and petitions. It's an opportunity for any member of the public to be heard about issues which are not topics scheduled for public hearing tonight. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit all to be heard, speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Please, sir.
Frank Sharp. My wife and I have resided at 26 Dale Drive for over 60 years without really any problems, except the one you just discussed, the power outages. But on Father's Day, we had a sewage backup that flooded our basement, completely flooded it. The town did respond quickly. Unfortunately, there was a problem with locating manholes, clearing debris out of the way. And, well, once they had found the problem, found where the blockage was, they jetted out the sewer. Water went down. We hired ServPro to come in and clean everything out. And they did do an excellent job. The town has pretty much taken responsibility for the sewer blockage. There was 8 inches of grease in an 8-inch line. Have that taken that responsibility. They were back every day jetting and cleaning and checking. And basically all we're asking for, if they would take a little responsibility to help us repair the damage to our home. Need a little bit of help. A lot of money has been spent and a lot more has to be spent. And basically we're here to get all the help that the town can give us.
Well, thank you, Mr. Sharp. I think opening the line of communication is the most important thing, and we can
Yeah.
take it from there. Tom, have you spoken with Mr. Sharp about the matter?
I have, and we have submitted a claim on their behalf to the Morris County JIF, and it's working its way through that process. I think that there was initially a rejection of the claim. I asked that it be resubmitted and re-examined, and we are very sympathetic to the Sharps and doing the best we can to see that they are made whole.
No, it's encouraging. Tom and I have just spoke this evening, and I think we're on the right track.
That's terrific. I'm glad you came. It's very important that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time. Is there anyone else? All right, I suppose that this closes the public hearing portion of our meeting tonight. Greg, shall we move along to the consent agenda?
Yes, this evening's resolutions are Resolution 2018-132, payment of bills, 2018-133, receipt of reports, 2018-134, approving meeting minutes, 2018-135, approving executive session minutes, 2018-136, refunding overpayment of taxes, 2018-137, releasing escrow balances, 2018-138, refunding permit fee, 2018-139, approving fire department membership, 2018-140, redemption of outside sewer liens, 2018-141, authorizing Safe Routes to School grant application for Shunpike Sidewalk, 2018-142, maintenance and ownership of Shunpike Sidewalk, 2018-143, authorizing grant application for Fairmount Ave Sidewalk, 2018-144, maintenance and ownership of Fairmount Sidewalk, 2018-145, approving sewer connection for 6 Chestnut Road, 2018-146, refunding third-party police escrow, 2018-147, authorizing change order for road resurfacing for Denville striping, 2018-148, authorizing sale of service weapon, 2018-149, approving change order for road resurfacing for Tilcon, 2018-150, rejecting bids for Lenape Trail curbing project, and 2018-151, awarding contract for Woodlawn Drive drainage project.
I would just like to mention one thing regarding the sidewalk matters, and that is that when we go forth as a township to decide that a sidewalk belongs here or it's going to best utilize our population there, that we don't put a sidewalk on somebody's lawn and say, here you go, now take care of it. And I think that it's important to note that with these sidewalk grant applications and other sidewalk issues, that the township does actually arrange to be responsible for the maintenance of those things.
I'm pretty sure that the rules for the grant requires us to take responsibility for maintenance. Now, that does not include like snow and ice removal, but maintenance if the sidewalk is broken or, a tree limb or tree root lifts it or something like that, that we're responsible for those repairs.
Thank you.
And these grants are existing sidewalks, which we are looking to improve.
Yeah, I think Shunpike, for example, is the other side, the north side of Shunpike.
Which is macadam or asphalt
so it would
or
upgrade
whatever.
that, yes.
Right, and is in need of some repair, for sure. Do I have a motion to approve the
So moved.
consent agenda? And a second?
Second.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz?
Yes.
And if I may, Mr. Schwartz, before we move on, we had discussed earlier request to schedule a special meeting for
Thank
the late afternoon of August 28th. It would be a Tuesday afternoon, I believe, for 4 o'clock, for the sole purpose of having an executive session to review a draft agreement with the Fair Share Housing Center on our affordable housing matter. So I would request that you all, at this point, formally agree to hold that special meeting so Greg can prepare the proper notices for the news media. So it'll be 4 o'clock on September 28th.
Everybody good? We've
Everybody's
all
good.
had a chance to look at our calendar?
I'm sorry, August 28th.
Yeah, and Typhoon is good as well.
Typhoon said he was.
And since that's my birthday, can we make it a quick meeting?
We'll have cake.
We will, or you can leave and I'll take notes.
Oh, God.
And Greg, you'll ensure that that is properly noticed to the public and everything else. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay.
If there's any cake left over, we'll save
There,
it.
we could say that. It's not
Put it in
too
the
far.
freezer.
It's not too far from now. Put it in the freezer. Nobody will touch it. Okay, discussion of possible ordinance or resolution? No? Very good. And once again, we have time for a hearing of the citizens. If there's anything anyone else would like to come and discuss?
Sure. My name is Andrew Passantino, 54 Sterling Drive, but I'm an out-of-state resident, so my parents live just visiting. Also, thank you to our Chatham Township Police Department for everything you do and our wonderful citizens of this township. We're number one for a reason. I was going to bring up the fact that at the Harding Township, Chatham Township border, there's no sign clearly what township you're in Green Village. I don't know if anybody needs to know that, but it just promotes the beauty of Chatham Township, so folks are aware of where they are. Number two, I was going to bring up that officer, that there's a lot of speeding on Sterling Drive. You know, I have my cigars outside and they whiz right by. Kind of a scary situation. And also, folks, I was maybe possibly making a recommendation for the future for the township for some type of hurricane preparation for the future, since Hurricane Sandy was so unpredictable. And maybe another idea would be possibly having the police department maybe have a coffee day with local citizens to improve community relations. I thought maybe, just in case. And just a few suggestions, just a millennial, 28-year-old Army vet, so that's all.
Well, they're all good ideas, and thank you for bringing them up. And you know what? That's how we hear from our folks. So we appreciate the time you took to come here and wait patiently with us, and that's great. The street you mentioned that you said you noticed some speeding on, I don't know whether you...
Yes, ma'am. Sterling Drive, it's on the, right off Green Village, Rose Valley, ma'am.
Oh,
Yes,
Rose
ma'am.
Valley.
Yeah, we have a lot of speeders coming in there. I'm not sure if they're township residents or not, but it's quite fascinating on how fast they drive. And it's, yeah.
Residents who live there.
What's that?
Yeah, it's zippy and zippy, and, you know, we have children around there, and we want to make sure our residents are safe, of course. And I always make a joke, being an Army guy, I have tri-care, so if they hit me, I'm fine, you know, just joking. You know, so a little Army humor for everybody there. I know, I'm not a comedian for a living. But yeah, that's about it, and I visit my parents once in a while because I love them, and, you know, always, you know, respect your elders and your parents, and, you know, that's it. So that's all I have to say. Thanks so
Very
much.
good.
There you go.
Thank you so much for our citizens.
Thank you for your time,
And
sir.
your service. Thank you. Even if it is Army, it's okay.
There we are. Okay. Anything else we have to do here today? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Bye.
Aye.